Accordingly, effective immediately, I am banning...
Boom. In a move no one saw coming, Brittney Griner, once the face of the WNBA, is now banned for life.
Days after Adam Silver issued a permanent ban on Brittney Griner from the WNBA, the fallout has grown into a full-blown crisis. What started as a league decision has now turned into a player-led uprising, with some of the WNBA's biggest names blasting the move.
Shaq unleashed his fury live. No filter, no PR polish, no sugarcoating. He dropped Adam Silver's name right in the middle of the stream, eyes blazing with intensity. The camera caught every second, the raw heat, the unshaken conviction. And Adam Silver's reaction? Pure, unmasked shock. He looked like a man who'd just been smacked in the face with cold, hard truth.
Stop, bro. So Brittney Griner has just been suspended for the entire season, as in the last week she has done some of the most diabolical things we have ever seen.
Shaq's outburst wasn't some random flare-up. It was a detonation years in the making. Live on national television, he tore into Adam Silver by name. No PR gloss, no code words, just raw, unfiltered fury. The blaze in his eyes said everything, and Silver's stunned, frozen expression made it clear he didn't see it coming. Within hours, the clip was everywhere: TikTok, Reddit, ESPN, WNBA threads, igniting a firestorm. This wasn't just about one viral rant. It was about the league's quiet, calculated sidelining of Brittney Griner. Despite her resilience, leadership, and contributions, she was treated like a disposable asset. No tribute, no honor, no respect. Whispers emerged that her career was being cut short not for performance, but because execs deemed her too controversial for the brand. For Shaq, that was the breaking point. He went live on Instagram, demanded answers from Silver, and delivered the gut punchline. "If this is how you treat Brittney, I don't even want to know what you do to someone without a name." The silence that followed was deafening. Players, both WNBA and NBA, began speaking out. Fans flooded comment sections with #FreeBritney messages, and even sponsors started backing away. Social media dissected every angle, every receipt, every past slight, painting a damning portrait of the league's priorities. Silver, once hailed as a progressive leader, now looked evasive, weak, or worse, complicit. Brittney herself stayed measured, hinting at deep frustrations in a quiet interview with Cam Newton without naming names, her voice laced with restraint and hurt. Sources claimed she felt betrayed and unprotected, despite carrying the league through its quietest years. Now, the pressure is relentless. Shaq has drawn the line, players have rallied, and the fans aren't letting go. Yet Silver remains silent, hiding behind expansion announcements and ribbon cuttings while one of the league's most pivotal figures is cast aside. Until he faces this head-on, every move he makes will be met with suspicion. And one thing's certain, this storm isn't blowing over. Not anytime soon. If Adam Silver chooses to remain silent, the potential ramifications extend far beyond public perception. League governance depends on trust, not only between executives and players, but also with the fans and sponsors whose financial support sustains the sport. A prolonged absence of leadership in moments of crisis risks eroding that trust, and in the business of professional sports, perception often becomes reality. This is how brands falter, not from a single controversy, but from a pattern of unanswered questions that leave stakeholders uneasy. The broader challenge now lies in balancing transparency with legal and contractual obligations. In situations involving high-profile athletes, the league must navigate a fine line between protecting individual privacy and providing enough clarity to maintain credibility. Overcommunication can inflame tensions, but undercommunication, as in this case, can be even more damaging. Strategic crisis management requires acknowledging the issue, outlining the process for resolution, and providing measurable timelines, steps that have yet to be seen from the commissioner's office. What many industry analysts are now watching closely is the ripple effect across other sports leagues. When a figure as prominent as Shaquille O'Neal challenges the legitimacy of a league's leadership, it sets a precedent that other athletes, in other sports, may feel emboldened to follow. In the era of direct-to-fan digital platforms, stars no longer need traditional media channels to voice their grievances. A single unfiltered live stream can command more attention than any carefully staged press conference. This incident also raises important questions about player relations in women's professional sports. While the NBA has long had robust player advocacy structures, the WNBA's mechanisms for safeguarding its athletes, particularly in off-court matters, remain less visible to the public. Greater transparency around these support systems, as well as tangible evidence of their effectiveness, could be critical in preventing similar public crises in the future. Without such measures, skepticism will only deepen. From a sponsorship and partnership perspective, the stakes are high. Corporate partners invest in leagues not only for visibility, but for brand alignment. Controversies that imply neglect or inequity risk driving those partners away, particularly in today's climate where brand values are scrutinized as closely as profits. A prolonged negative news cycle could prompt companies to redirect marketing budgets toward less contentious platforms, leaving the league to rebuild both financial and reputational capital. Ultimately, the situation underscores a fundamental truth of professional sports leadership: silence is rarely neutral. In an age where every second of an action is dissected online, failure to respond becomes a response in itself. Whether Adam Silver addresses this crisis directly or continues to deflect, the decision will shape not just the outcome of this specific controversy, but the narrative arc of his tenure as commissioner. History will remember not only what he did, but how long it took him to do it. Another critical layer to consider is the role of athlete representation in moments like this. Player unions, agents, and legal advisors exist to safeguard athletes from reputational and contractual harm, yet their influence is often limited when disputes or controversies involve the league itself. This imbalance underscores the importance of having independent, well-resourced advocacy bodies that can stand toe-to-toe with league leadership. Without such protections, individual athletes, regardless of their stature, remain vulnerable to decisions made behind closed doors. The current fallout also highlights the evolving power dynamics between athletes and media coverage. Historically, narratives were shaped by journalists, analysts, and official league statements. Today, however, social media enables real-time storytelling from the athletes themselves, bypassing traditional gatekeepers. This democratization of voice means that any misstep by the league can be amplified and dissected globally within minutes. For leadership, it demands a more agile and responsive approach to public communication. Sports historians point to similar flashpoints in other leagues where player activism reshaped organizational priorities. The NFL's handling of Colin Kaepernick, for example, continues to serve as a cautionary tale about the long-term damage caused by perceived injustice. While the specifics of each case differ, the underlying lesson remains constant. Dismissing or silencing high-profile figures without addressing the root concerns can lead to enduring mistrust that spans generations of athletes and fans. Another emerging factor is the economic climate of professional sports. As streaming platforms, sponsorship models, and fan engagement strategies evolve, leagues can no longer rely solely on traditional revenue streams. This creates additional pressure to protect their public image, as controversies now directly influence digital viewership metrics, merchandise sales, and international expansion opportunities. A single public relations crisis can ripple across multiple business units, making swift resolution not only a moral imperative, but a financial necessity. It is also worth noting the role of public accountability in sustaining a league's cultural relevance. Professional sports thrive when they are perceived as both competitive and principled, when fans believe that the institutions behind the games uphold values of fairness, respect, and recognition. If those values are called into question, particularly in an era when societal conversations about equity and representation are louder than ever, the damage can extend beyond the court. The league risks alienating not just its current fan base, but also future generations. Finally, leadership in professional sports is not measured solely by the championships won or the revenue generated, but by how an organization responds under pressure. This moment offers the league an opportunity to demonstrate integrity, empathy, and vision. Choosing transparency over evasion, action over hesitation, could restore confidence among players, fans, and partners alike. Conversely, continued inaction will almost certainly solidify the perception that the leadership is more invested in optics than in the athletes whose talent and dedication sustain the sport.